got some breaking news. The Las Vegas Raiders are expected to bring back Patrick Graham as their defensive coordinator. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, we're going to get into all of the latest news around PG, but this is why you subscribe. When Raiders news happens, we go live, we break it down, and we never miss any content. I'm always an honest person, though. Chugs and I are both on dog duty. There's supposed to be a really wicked storm here in Dallas tonight. You can Google it. 3 inches of rain in an hour is what I heard. But we had to go live a little bit early because I didn't know if we were going to be able to go live later when this news does become officially official. And I say that because look at this lingo here by Josina Anderson. When Josina puts a tweet out like this, I'm told the Raiders and Patrick Graham are working on a deal to bring him back as defensive coordinator. That essentially means that the lingo, the conversation is already in place, and at any moment, it can become officially official. I would hate myself, I'm not lying to y'all, if I wasn't able to come into the studio and give you guys breaking news. I know we hustle a lot, but I take a lot of pride in what I do. So if I wasn't able to cover this news when it was officially official, it would eat me up inside. So because of that, we came in here just a little bit early. I would consider the Patrick Graham defensive coordinator news just like the Raiders hiring John Spytek news. You might have to wait 24 to 36 hours, but just know when it is officially official, I will also update you guys on social media and on YouTube as well. I got to know, though, fill in the blank. The Raiders will have a top blank defense this year under Patrick Graham. I kind of want to make this the pinned comment here on today's show. So you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. The Raiders will have a top blank defense this year under PG. I'm going to go top 10. And I want to say even higher than that, but I don't want to shoot for the stars again. This past season, the Raiders were 26th in the NFL points per game allowed. 15th allowed in terms of total yards. I want to say 15 in passing yards per game, 13 in rushing yards per game against. But let's be real. The points per game has more to do with the fact that our offense turned the football over all the time. All the 3 and outs and the defense was always on the field. On top of that, we missed a lot of pieces due to injury. I believe Patrick Graham is a damn good coach. In those final 9 games of 2023, the Raiders had the number 1 overall defense, allowing 15.3 points per game. Again, that's 2023 with Antonio Pierce. He does come to the table with 15 years of NFL experience, 5 with the Raiders. And again, this is somebody that joined the staff. I want to say it was 2022, 2023, 2024. So it's going to be his 4th year with the Raiders. Oh, you know what, though? I think he was with the team a few years ago on top of that. Garnered interest from the Jags and Bengals. So the Jags was head coaching gig. Also, the Jags was the defensive coordinator gig, which he was still kind of in the realm for. And then the Bengals job was for defensive coordinator. When I saw Cincinnati move on from their DC, one of the very first names I threw out there was Patrick Graham, and he ended up being a finalist. They ended up going with Al Golden, the defensive coordinator for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. But to me, if you really want to keep Maxx Crosby happy, this is, again, one of those minor details of casual fans might not know. The NFL media might not know. But when we go back and we look at why did Maxx Crosby decide to stay with the Raiders, this could be one of those minor moves that you could point your finger at and go, he wanted stability. Patrick Graham and Maxx Crosby, in Crosby's career, that's the definition of stability. So when you look at the Raiders' defense last season, I kind of went through some of these numbers already. One of the numbers that we got to see improved, and it will be better, I believe, this upcoming season. Let's face it, if you would have had a healthy Malcolm Koonce, Christian Wilkins, Maxx Crosby, that pass rush alone would have boosted these numbers a lot. We need to be able to punch the football out better. We need to be able to force turnovers. It's been something that's really plagued this defense for many seasons. So I know all these numbers, to me, will get better. Just because players are going to be healthier. If we're this unlucky again, then man, oh man, we might actually be cursed. But these numbers are going to improve. The takeaways one needs to also improve, and quite frankly, it's something that if I'm the Raiders, I'm looking to improve upon in free agency, in the draft, via trade. Go out and get guys that want to go get the ball. It was something that Seattle always did a solid job of. Pete Carroll, many of those years over there for the Legion of Boom. I'm trying to turn this, though, into the Allegiant of Boom, or Allegiant of Doom. Coming up, Raiders free agents on defense, and if they return with Patrick Graham. So one of the shows that I did live on Tuesday, you're also going to get, some more in-depth videos tomorrow on some Raiders free agents. But we were looking at a lot of free agents, and a question I get asked is, Mitch, who could the Raiders potentially bring back? We'll talk about some of those names here in just a moment, but I got to give a shout-out to today's sponsor, Gametime. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed, views from your seat. If you're trying to go to the big game, well, then I recommend taking the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime today. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS. I love using Gametime. We've used it a bunch here. And again, if you're trying to go to the big game, the way that you're going to get the best bang for your buck is if you use the Gametime picks, which essentially is if you're a shopper and you walk into a store, one of the very first things that I do is I'll go to the clearance rack. If you're embarrassed to admit that, then you're just not shopping the right way. And if that's how you think, because that's what I do, right? If I'm on another website, first thing I do, I filter, I go to sale. Gametime picks is kind of that on Gametime. Like, if I'm going to go get a ticket, there's 0% chance that I'm going to get a ticket without looking at least the Gametime picks first. And then if you click the all-in pricing, when you go to checkout, you're going to know exactly what you're going to be paying, so you're not going to be hit with all those crazy fees. That's why I love Gametime. They're here to help you create those lasting memories in 2025, and you might as well save some money doing it. That link's down in the comments. It's down in the description of today's show. Download Gametime today. So coming up here, let's look at some Raiders free agents on defense that if they return with PG or not. We're still a little bit unsure of what exactly this defense can look from top to bottom, but let's face it. If you bring back Patrick Graham, that means that more than likely you're going to keep some of that defensive staff, and if you're able to keep the Rob Leonards, the Gerald Alexander, the Ricky Manning, maybe Mike Caldwell, linebacker coach, then this is how you try to keep this unit together, because you're missing a lot of pieces. 28 free agents all in total, and I'm just talking about there's exclusive right, there's restricted. The defensive names that you're about to see here are the unrestricted free agents. These are the names that I think a lot of y'all think of when you hear free agents. It's somebody that's played at least 3 to 4 years, and they're hitting that open market. Like, to me, I look at somebody like Adam Butler at 30 years old. That's somebody that you absolutely have to try to bring back, because sure, you have $92.5 million to spend, but at the same time, we have so many holes. I'm trying to bring back an Adam Butler. I definitely want to try to bring back Caleb Jason on a cheap deal. If you're able to bring back Malcolm Kuntz, that would be great. I hope that he would take maybe a little bit of a team-friendly deal, maybe $8 to $9 million, because I think if he hits the open market, he might make a little bit more. Divine Diablo, another great athlete. John Jenkins, 34, cool. Janarius Robinson, I'm good on that. I'm going to let him go. More players on defense. Again, we're talking about big-name guys. Captain Robert Spillane, Marcus Epps, captain. Trevon Merrick is a stud. Out of all these names here, the name that I think are the most important is Trevon Merrick and Robert Spillane. Nate Hobbs is an athlete, and we all know how talented of a player Nate Hobbs is. But at the same time, he's got to be able to prove that he can stay healthy, and it's 4 straight years of him battling some injuries. There's some other good names that I think that we could go out and get. Like, quite frankly, I would rather the Raiders go out and target somebody like a Byron Murphy, have him play slot, outside corner, this versatile role that Nate Hobbs plays, because he's also been proven that he can stay healthier. Epps, you're probably going to let go, and then Darnay Holmes, you're probably going to let go. However, though, when you look at defense, and we're talking defense, I know that he's not a free agent, but he wants a brand new contract. Maxx Crosby is looking for a brand new deal, and if you didn't check out the video that I did yesterday, go check out the video that I did yesterday. He's going to be looking for $30 million per year. He's got $0 million guaranteed on his contract. Whether you want to give him a 3-year deal, whether you want to give him a 5-year deal, maybe you want to give him a deal that's kind of structured a little bit like Devontae Adams is, where you tie 3 years to Pete Carroll, 5 years to John Spytek, and if you want that out clause after Carroll, you can do it when Crosby's 30 years old. But the bringing back of Patrick Graham is big, because it's also big for Maxx Crosby, because he wanted PG back. He wanted people back like Rob Leonard. And the Raiders, they requested to interview Leonard earlier this week, and I almost wonder if that was one of those interview jobs that said, hey, Rob, you're a hell of a coach. We know that you're a hell of a coach. We got a guy in Pete Carroll at 73, going to be 74 years old. Our plan here is this. Maybe Patrick Graham takes over for Carroll. And then when, Patrick Graham takes over for Carroll, maybe Rob Leonard takes over for somebody like Pete. If you want to build stability, that's at least a long-term plan of stability. You might like it, you might not like it, but that's still one of those plans where you're going, if the Raiders are winning football games 3 years from now, then that plan to me does make a lot of sense. Leonard is one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL, and I'm telling you this right now, if we're able to keep Patrick Graham and Rob Leonard, I don't know if there's another name out there that you could have told me like Robert Saleh or Patrick Graham and Rob Leonard. I'm probably going to take PG and Rob Leonard over Robert Saleh, and I think a lot of people know how much I like him. I know Saleh's with the 49ers, but that was just the top example that I could think of right now. Would you want the Raiders to bring back Rob Leonard? This should say yes or hell yes down below. I can't think of a single reason why you would say no to this question. Rob Leonard is somebody that you need to try to figure out a way to bring back. I was very passionate last season of bringing back AP and PG because I thought they did a phenomenal job at the end of 2023. I know AP did prove that he might not have been a great head coach, but he's still a really good defensive-minded coach, and we got to give him his flowers there for that one. At the same time, though, this is going to be a joint group that I really, really hope that the Raiders are able to keep together. Patrick Graham and Rob Leonard. So one more time, we had to go live a little bit early because crazy weather down here in Dallas and dog duty. Some of y'all already know how it is. And I would have beat myself up if I would not have been able to come live here on this show. So again, Josina Anderson, breaking. I am told the Raiders and Patrick Graham are working on a deal to bring him back as defensive coordinator. Once this becomes officially official, I will make another video. I'll put it out on Instagram. I'll put it out on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. But my job here is to keep you guys up to date. Even when my schedule doesn't make it happen, we're still going to do everything in our power to make sure you know what's going on around the nation.